what has your experience been like in the field being a Black male therapist? How would you say that has been for you, maybe compared to some of your colleagues or counterparts?
I think it benefited me from an aspect of being more sought out. Um, I even look back to like going to grad school, even before I become a therapist.
Mm,
How showing up to schools for interviews for grad programs, and I feel like I was sought out because I was a black male therapist, or going
yeah.
to be a black male therapist, and not that many. So that diversity aspect does help, whether it's like going into a program or going to a company,
Mm,
and then because they also obviously have a diverse population of clients or patients, so they look at it as like, okay, they have this person that obviously can probably have a better, in their eyes, a good chance of connecting with the familiarity with certain patients, for whether it's
yeah.
culture or age or race, those type of things. So that's been a benefit, I guess. I would say for me, and also for the patients as well. And
Okay.
I even noticed too, like it brings a great level of accountability. And even like
Yeah.
I mean, and I've come across patients who said, "Oh man, I look for a black male therapist. I finally found one," and that's from like a aspect of working in private practice,
Yeah.
telemental health recently. So that aspect does help too, and it helps both sides. I would say, myself and also them
Yeah.
trying to look for that. So yep.
Yeah, man. No, absolutely. And it's interesting to hear you say that too, because I mean, for me, I had sort of a different experience. I feel like coming out of grad school. Well, I mean, even going in, I was talking to somebody about this just a few days ago. The
Mhm.
idea that in a lot of our programs, we are definitely the minority within the program, but I don't remember feeling like there was ever anybody that sort of pulled me to the side and said, "Hey, your community might really need you, and you might want to consider focusing or specializing in issues within your particular demographic." Not that you have to,
Mhm.
but that kind of foreseeing the need and then kind of gearing you in that direction. I
Mhm.
never remember ever having that. And I say that
Mhm.
because everything for me changed in 2020. It changed after the George Floyd protest. That's when, to me, our community started to like wake up,
Mhm.
recognize a lot of the challenge and trauma that we might have been experiencing for quite a
Mhm.
period of time, and actually willing to start doing some work to address it. So I started seeing more of that active intentionality, like you were
Mhm.
discussing, saying, "Hey,
Yeah.
I need a black male therapist," or "There's not enough of you guys. Can I work with you?" And obviously, telehealth has definitely made it easier to reach a lot of those
Mhm.
folks.
Mhm.
But yeah, it was just a very interesting experience for me to go from not feeling like there was any significance to my background, and
Mhm.
then seeing this like complete 180 almost.
Yeah.
Once all that stuff started going on, I felt like there was almost this awakening in our
Mhm.
community that was like, oh, we've gone through a bunch of stuff. Oh,
Mhm.
this is not normal. Oh, I need to do something about it. And then
Yeah.
actively trying to talk to people like you or me,
Yeah.
and it felt kind of like what you were talking about, extremely validating to
Mhm.
say like, oh yeah, we need you. I would like to work with you. And I'm hoping that maybe anybody listening to this conversation or anybody who's considering going into the field, that it is more normalized now, seeing that the need is definitely there in the community. And it's up to us to continue to further that narrative and encourage other brothers and sisters out there to give it
Yeah.
a shot.
Yeah. I think it's important. Like when you talk about that pivotal moment in George Floyd situation, like
Hmm.
unfortunately, that it's kind of like it kind of was that like civil rights, situation. Like kind of like I guess when you think about not just like it, but like the Ryan King situation, that
Right,
things
right,
started to shift in. That was
right.
our generational moment, and it is good that it would, had sparked a lot of change, a lot of proactive thinking, a lot of people kind of trying to be more involved in the community, trying to make changes, which is
Yeah.
great. I would say for me though, like that aspect of thinking of trying to better the community was like there, like embedded it in a sense,
Yeah.
but me trying to figure out how I can do that. And even today, I'm still trying to
Okay.
like, how can I be like that impactful? It
Correct.
was there because like my dad, part of Nation of Islam, they're really about black community,
Yeah.
blackness, being together, helping each other out, black business. So I was already seeing that, growing up, so to speak, even going to mosque and everything like that too. So like that was there, but of course, a teenager, young adult, don't really know what to do. But even now, like I said,
Sure.
still trying to figure out. And I guess now as a professional in the field, I do get that sense of like I'm giving back and helping when I am
Hmm.
dealing with someone, in the minority or a black client or couple or whoever
Yeah.
or student, that I'm able to inform them and help them and give them the tools and guidance and things that they may not necessarily have been afforded to or been around or been exposed to in their past or even now, because of they're looking for those, I guess, someone of likeness to them, which I
Mhm.
found to be very helpful. And even thinking back to particularly to the George Floyd situation, I've had clients now that have had like some uh, trauma from that, like even to a 5 year old
Oh yeah.
who seen the stuff on TV and on media, and then she was like feeling differently about police, and she was re-traumatized actually,
Mhm.
when a police officer came to the house. I forgot what reason, but that's an issue now, which is very
Yeah.
interesting. And it's unfortunate that things like that are happening. With the trauma and people having anxiety, depression with police interactions, but now it does open up that door for people like us to obviously get involved and try to build up and help people with those things. So,
Yeah, man,
you know,
absolutely. And I even like the way you framed about like kind of it giving us that I would almost consider it like a gateway moment.
mhm,
Not like we weren't there, like you said. It's not
yeah,
like we didn't care, we didn't want to try, we didn't
mhm,
exist. But
mhm,
I'll say, and I'll just speak for myself. I didn't necessarily feel that that desire was ever going to really be there. I was hopeful
mhm,
that people from our community would want to, but I feel like historically, based on my experience, a lot of us seek out like spiritual and pastoral type counseling or through
mhm,
ever your faith based institution that you
mhm,
subscribe to. But this was the first time where I felt like people were just like, I am seeing these things on TV. I am hearing these stories. It is bringing up a lot of feelings for me, whether it be at work with my coworkers, feeling,
mhm,
talking about microaggressions,
mhm,
feeling like I'm being, prejudiced and stereotyped or implicit bias towards folks. And
mhm,
a lot of these conversations started to pop up.
mhm,
And I started hearing more of the conversation shifting towards like, oh, well, you should talk to a therapist. You should start considering working some of that out with somebody.
mhm, mhm,
And that to me is where I felt like it was that pivotal moment where it was like, okay, now people are starting to value doing this type of work. They're starting to value making sure their mental, physical, and emotional health are in balance and not simply putting that stuff to the side like we typically tend to do and
mhm,
compartmentalize it, which you and
mhm.
I both know that how destructive that can be.
Yeah.
And the fact that we started to recognize and appreciate individuals maybe like myself or like you that do this type of work, that started getting me very encouraged and optimistic for all of the people in the community who might be more willing to actually
Mhm.
do the work.
Yeah.
So that to me was like a general takeaway from that whole experience of that summer of 2020 and how we finally started to wake up. And
Mhm.
that's why to me it's so good for people to maybe hear individuals like myself or like you to talk about these issues because they might not get to see a lot of brothers like you and me who are both practitioners
Mhm.
doing this type of work and then making the focus and the priorities about the issues that we might historically and systemically face
Mhm.
within our particular community.